Hello everyone, welcome. Wait, this is fine, isn't it? Okay, cool. Oh, Busker, hopefully you do manage to make it. Um, okay, I'm gonna wait a tiny bit. I'm kind of surprised I actually made it on time because I'm sure many of you know, but I'm usually like 5 minutes late when it comes to these streams. I'm sure some people are expecting that and they're probably gonna arrive 5 minutes late. Hi Sophie, welcome. Okay, let me let people know. And for those who are watching the VOD, remember that I am putting, or have already probably, put timestamps in the description below if you just want to skip to like where I actually start the review, which will probably be in like 5 minutes or so, I'm guessing. Hi Toshiro! Hi Kennedy! Hi Sia! Hi Teresa! Hi Elena! Welcome! Um, Starting now. There we go. Hi Rise! Hi Tsukuyomi! I'm glad we've got lots of people. Every time with these streams, I'm like so worried. Oh, I hate the fact that my hair's like wet as well. Everything is so last minute when I do it. Hi Mara, welcome. Oh, Rose Lover, you managed to make it. Good morning. Okay, I think you know what, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm actually kind of impressed with myself for making one of my streams in time. I'm always like rushing around and like everything's late and it's a nightmare normally, so. Hi Fancy, welcome. Mind you, I haven't rehearsed this entirely, so this could be interesting. Bear that in mind. Okay, I'm gonna start. As always, the format is that I will be talking as if this is like a video. I will stop after each slide to see if people have any questions. If you do, then I'll try and answer them, or people in my chat will try and answer them. Hi Oriana, welcome. But yeah, so if I don't respond to you, it's because I'm like focusing on what's going on. Okay, so, but hello everyone. Welcome to my stream. Today I'm going to be talking about Norn9 Var Commons. But before I start, note that although I would not consider any of what I include in this video as spoilers, and whether what you consider spoilers and what I consider spoilers may not quite align, so if you're even a little bit, sensitive about spoilers and you don't even want to know what's on the website, then I would swiftly move on. Also, this is the first impressions video, so I've played one route and a half, so it's very much like the feeling I got after playing it for like 10 hours or so. So there will probably be things that I'm not entirely sure about, which is why hopefully people in the chat will be able to answer any questions, but it is non-spoiler, so bear that in mind. Also, question of the day is, how do you feel about sci-fi as a genre in Otome games? And before I start, thank you very much to Lulu for the YouTube membership. I very much appreciate it, and it will go towards improving my channel. But anyway, finally, after all of that, let me start. So, Norn9 Var Commons is actually the main game, and I believe, I don't know when, but Norn9 Last Era, which is the fan disc, will be released later on. But remember, if you're interested in this, pick up Norn9 Var Commons, because that is the main game. And I don't want you making a mistake of buying the fan disc. I have done this before and it's quite tragic because you're like, no, I need to get the new game for the main game, and it's good and also bad, if you know what I mean. So there's that. But anyway, the plot goes, basically you're this main character who, oddly enough, you start as this boy. So, it is an Otome game in that you will be a female main character later down the lines. At the very beginning in the common route, for some reason you're this little boy that's in a modern age. He's a prodigy. Of the reason I say that, I'll go into a bit more detail later on, but he's this kid that of course excels at everything, and I mean, he does have his issues, but what happens is he's learning about this, I can't remember where, but he's like learning about like Taisho period buildings essentially, and for various reasons ends up slipping back into time into the Taisho period, and yeah, he's like, what the hell's going on? He then encounters Koharu, who is the pink-haired main character. Things happen, and they end up wandering into this airship, which is where most of the game takes place. And they kind of live their life. It does feel very slice of life-ish, actually. But the airship then gets attacked, and essentially it's kind of a, oh my gosh, it might be an attack from the inside. There's a traitor. Ah! And yeah, that's basically the plot. Uh, it actually hooked me quite a bit because when I played this game, I hadn't really looked at like the synopsis or like the, you know, the blurb or anything like that. So I didn't actually know that there was going to be a sort of whodunit element to it. So when that happened, I was actually quite happy. But yeah, so that's Norn9. Now, who made it? Its scenario writer is Ushio Ayane, who also wrote Even If Tempest, which is why I've kind of got high hopes for this game, since I really, really enjoyed the story of Even If Tempest. The artist is Teita, who also drew Nightshade, Shadow Maniacs, and Juze Engi. Also, there are chibis that appear. I think in the menus. I can't remember. But there are chibi art here and there, and that was done by Satoi, who many of you I'm sure know has also drawn Olympia Soiree, Niruado Mirai no Tenbin, Diabolic Lovers, that sort of thing. So the chibis are by them, but the main art is by Teita, who, yeah, did those three. Of course, it's Idea Factory Otome, so yeah, the queen of all Otome games, essentially. So those are the little details. Now, the system, and also I know I said I'd look at the comments after like each slide. I've just kind of whizzed by. Let's see, hello to everyone who came along. Thank you for coming by. And yes, I really like Teita's art style. I don't know whether I prefer their old stuff, like the Nightshade, Norn9 stuff, or the more kind of modern Charado Maniacs style, because they actually look quite different, you know? So many beautiful games done by the same artist. Yeah, that's the thing. You don't really expect it to be Satoi. I only learned this thanks to Otome Kitten. I actually kind of like went to her page for like some of the info. I sometimes go to different blogs and like get the info from there as well. So, and then I obviously double check it. But anyway, system, and what I like to call the most boring slide is basically the length. It took me about like 1 to 2 hours to do the common route. The common route is kind of like you've got the boy main character, and then you end up branching into like one of the 3 groups, which introduces like the characters a bit more. So each of the 3 groups has one of the main characters in it, and then you end up picking character, and then it goes into the main character's perspective, so the girl actual main character's perspective. So that was the common route. It's nice and short. I kind of appreciate that. I feel that when the common route is really long, it sort of drags on. So I was kind of glad that the common route was relatively like straight to the point, get it over and done with type of thing. For Heishi's route, it took me about, I think, 3 to 4 hours. It depends on whether, of course, you listen to all the voice acting or whether you like cut it short every now and then. I know it's an unpopular thing to do, but I am very impatient. So sometimes if it's like casual talk, I will skip through the voice actors' lines because I'm like, yeah, I've heard this several times before. But it's emotional scenes, I will listen to all of it. So it really depends on that. It's not as long as many other Otome games, I'd say, and I think it's because there are more love interests. Unfortunately, there is no skip to next function, which makes me really sad. If any of you have found a skip to next function, do let me know. I searched for it, couldn't find it, so I've come to the conclusion there is no skip next function. But it's fine. But I wish there was. Fortunately, there's at least love catch, which is, you know, the little symbol that appears if you pick the correct option, which, oh, thank God, it means that I don't necessarily have to fully rely on a walkthrough. The number of love interests is 9, so it's quite a few. So some of you are probably like worried, oh no, there's 9 love interests, so each of the routes are super short. So another game I can think of with 9 love interests is Paradigm Paradox. I think that had mixed reviews due to the pacing. Like some of the routes, it just kind of abruptly ended, and you're like, what? I don't think, at least the route I played, didn't have as much of a pacing issue. Things did like quickly happen, but it wasn't as like confusing as Paradigm Paradox, where you're like, what the hell happened? I think this is better written. Also note that the main characters are voiced too, which is really exciting. However, if you're the type of person that doesn't like the main character being voiced, you can switch it off for those who, you know, prefer self-inserting. Also, there's a weird point system. Initially, I was like, do I have to like pay for stuff on like when I pay for the game? Like I was a little bit confused. Basically, how it works is you get points every time you like sort of, you know, get a certain CG or complete a certain ending, whatever you do, get points, and then you use those points in the Norn9 store in the game, which I had misunderstood to be a real store. But you then spend them on there to like get short stories, that sort of thing, which is interesting. I've never come across that before, so I think that was, yeah. And also these are little chibis to showcase Satoi's chibi style. They do have a skip to next choice. Oh my god, thank you, Toshiro. Thank you so much. Okay, now, yeah, it's me not digging deep into the settings enough. Thank you so much. Now I can, like, skip properly. I'm so glad. Oh god, I skip everyone after reading the lines except one or two characters whose voice I just really enjoy. And that's the same. There are a couple of voice actors I really like. Theirs I will listen until the end, but a lot of the time I'm, like, very... There's a skip next one. Oh, thank you, Buffett. Clearly, I'm just like not digging deep enough, which is why the stream format is probably better. Oh dear. There are issues with it if you want to pick up CG, so that's something you mind, but I only skip read text, so don't have that issue. Okay, cool. Awesome. Next slide. So these are the main characters. There are 3 of them, which is really exciting. They're all voiced. I think Norn9 is so famous because it was one of the very few Otome games that are localized back in the PS Vita days, before, you know, so many localizations started popping up. And also, the PS Vita localization apparently was horrific. I wish I had experienced it. It just, yeah, it sounded terrible. But obviously terrible localization can sometimes be hilarious to read. But yeah, so you've got these 3. You've got Koharu, who is voiced by Ayumi Fujimura. She's she's not my kind of main character, if I'm to be completely honest. She's very like cutesy, ditzy, innocent, all of those sort of things. The type of character that I can imagine guys wanting to protect, and also the kind of character that if she appeared in real, I would not trust, because I'm like, no one this sweet exists in real. That's the girls' school Luli's experience stalking. However, it is an Otome game, so she is genuinely really cute. And it's weird because I played her as a second main character. When I was playing her, like when I was playing Nanami and seeing Koharu, she did kind of get on my nerves a little bit. But when you play as her, you're like, oh, okay, this isn't too bad. This is actually okay. And that's something I'll get into in a moment, but that's Koharu. You've got Mikoto, who's voiced by Ayahi Takagaki, who she's like a tsundere through and through, like think stereotypical tsundere main character, and that is Mikoto. And I'm looking forward to playing her because I like her as a character, but also the love interests in her group are the ones I'm most looking forward to. So that's Sakuya, Itsuki, and Natsuhiko. As you can see, each main character has like corresponding love interests. So if you want to complete a particular love interest, you will have to pick the sort of, yeah, corresponding main character. So that's something to bear in mind as well. Last but not least is Nanami, who is voiced by Asami Seto. She is a kudere, but one thing that I found interesting was Nanami is the main character I played first, and I didn't realize she was a kudere because obviously when you play her, you see her like thought process in, you know, text, so you see exactly what she's thinking, and so obviously she doesn't come across as a kudere. But when I started playing Koharu and saw Nanami appear in, you know, the stories, I was like, oh, so this is how like the other characters perceive her, and it totally made sense. And that is the beauty of this game, to be playing main characters but seeing what the other main characters seem like from like the love interest and the other characters' perspectives. It was like, I don't know, it's not something I've experienced in an Otome game before, so I really liked it actually. I thought it was pretty cool. Um, and very last and very least is Sakurai, the very first main character, as I have put like tiny, really small. That expresses how much I did not like this character. He's just, so he's the little boy you start off with. He's just so like, he thinks he knows better than anyone around him, and it really bothers me because typically people who think know better tend to not be as smart as they think they are, and it makes me cringe, and I just, yeah, he just, yeah, no, I didn't like him at all. I'm glad he was very temporary and I didn't have to read his like thought process and stuff. He was just annoying. But yeah, so each of the heroines have different love interests. With Koharu, you've got Senri, Kakeru, and Toya. Mikoto, you've got Sakuya, Itsuki, and Natsuhiko. And Nanami, you can complete Heishi, Akito, and Ron. So those are the respective love interests. Baby girl, she's the sweetest. Aww. It's so fun to play with 3 different MCs. It really is. I missed out on a lot of Otome games PSP these days. That's fair. I mean, there aren't many PS Vita games, so I can totally understand why you decided not to purchase it. I'm just surprised that, like, I think everyone was surprised when the Switch version got announced because it was like, what? I think I played an Otome game like that before. Hey, all, any rumors of localization for Hakuoki on Switch? Audrey, I think so many people actually want that. If they did announce a localization for Hakuoki on Switch, I think everyone would go crazy. And you know what's funny? Even though I've already got it on PS Vita, I'd be low-key tempted to get it on Switch as well. New shiny in this game for me so far. Honestly, the focus is the main characters for me, and I'll go into a bit more in a moment, but like it's been fun, like really fun. Arrogance is not attract, right? It sucked being the arrogant little boy, and you're like, this isn't me, I swear. When you don't know a lot, you think you are more knowledgeable. Exactly, it's called like Dunning-Kruger effect, right? Hi Mila, yeah, I really enjoyed Norn9 so far. Came out years after the Japanese port. That makes sense. You can get most of the Vita games on Steam anyways. That's true. The Psychedelic of the Black Butterfly, there's Hakuoki. Can you get 7 Scarlet as well, I think? I don't know about Ashen Hawk. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Next slide. So, the love interests. My favourite slides. So, first up is Senri, Kakeru, and Toya. That's not in order, by the way. From left to right is actually Senri, who is a hikikomori. He's not my type, to be honest. He really is a hikikomori. He's very quiet. He seems a bit depressing. And I think the fact that he's not my type probably doesn't help that he's a Shota character. So he looks very young, which to me, unfortunately, is not appealing. So yeah, he's not my type. I put a question mark next to Sunboy because like he doesn't like admitting his feelings, but like he doesn't feel that Sun either. It's really hard to explain, but that's Sandy. The second one is Toya. He, I think, is the eldest. He gives off like older brother vibes, which I love in a love interest, so I'm looking forward to his route. He's genuinely a nice guy and tries to take care of everyone. And I really like the chemistry he has with Koharu, the pink-haired girl. So I am really looking forward to his route. Yeah, he is cute. I think he's the most masculine out of all of them too, kind of. At least looks wise anyway. Now the third is Kakeru. He gives off idol vibes, and he and Senri really bicker all the time. And I think it's because like Senri's so introverted, and then you got Kakeru who's like extremely extroverted, and they just yeah, they bicker a lot. I think Kakeru means well, but like yeah. And Kakeru is all about having fun. Everything he agrees to doing or is happy about is because he thinks it'll be fun. So that's the kind of character he is. Out of the three, to be quite honest, I'm actually only really interested in Toya. But note that Kakeru is voiced by Kajiyuki, who everyone loves, which I don't blame because Kajiyuki is an amazing voice actor. So that is something to note if you're crazy about voice actors, and Kajiyuki is one of the voice actors you like. None of these routes are actually locked. However, I have seen in a number of different people's kind of recommended orders that it's recommended to leave Toya a little bit later compared to like Kakeru and Senri. Senri is actually the second one I'm playing. So yeah, so that's that. Now next is the characters you can complete as Mikoto. You've got Itsuki, who, oh my god, I'm really looking forward to his route, but he's a total flirt. Um, he fools around all the time. I think Mikoto's like constantly mad at him, and also I didn't look at comments, did I? He comedy looks 5. He can be only. Oh my god, Carrot, what are you saying? Yeah, I struggle with Shota characters too, Fancy. There's just something. Yeah. Kazuyuki. Cindy surprised me a lot. He's not my type at all, but I quite like his route. He isn't my sort of ally. I was surprised with how much. Okay, so who knows? Maybe I might enjoy it. We shall see. I was thinking that Irisu. Caitlin's a huge Kazuyuki fan. But anyway, so yeah, Itsuki is a total flirt. He's like constantly fooling around. Mikoto is like constantly mad at him because she's like, "Oh my god, stop fooling around. Things are serious right now." And it's fun seeing the dynamic. The second guy is Natsuhiko. I don't actually know anything about this guy. He's a complete mystery, so I guess we'll find out later. And when I make a review on this, I'll say my thoughts on him. Um, and the third one is Sakuya. I He's the one I'm looking forward to root of absolutely most because I feel like he's hiding something. I don't know. It could just like be me, but there's just he think of like the gentleman type, and he's very protective of Mikoto. He's childhood friends with her, and just something about I don't know. I just feel like he's hiding something, and so I'm really looking forward to his route. There's just when you see a character and there's just something about that character, you're like he's one of those, so I don't know. We shall see. Note that Natsuhiko is a locked route, and a lot of suggestions have said to play him last. I don't know if he's locked like until you play all the other characters, or whether he's locked until you play Itsuki or Sakuya. I can't remember, but he is locked, and people have said to play him last. I guess because he's a mystery, it makes sense, I guess. Last set is these 3. I'm looking forward to Itsuki's room too. Route even. Flirts and then a killer I know, Mara. It's gonna be great. I'm so excited. Now it's Carrot Heart. That's the thing. That group is the one I'm looking forward to most. Sakuya's not your favorite. Okay, I see it. I feel like he's gonna be my favorite then, because if I remember correctly, our tastes are quite like where we have very different tastes, I think, because I tend to like the more crazy ones. So like I'm low-key hoping that he's one of those where he seems really nice and is crazy. I'm not always right, so I could be completely off the bat here. If he was voiced by Hirakawa or Hirarin even, I would be like, we know what he's gonna be like, but I guess he's not, so we'll have to wait and see. Still looking for. Oh, Tsukuyomi, you're killing me. Okay, right, so here we go. So you've got Akito, who is like the Tsun boy. Oh my gosh, he's just a classic Tsun boy. I would be so curious how him and Mikoto would be as a couple. Unfortunately, you won't get to see that, but the thought is just funny. He seems very mad all the time, and he is 100% like one of those delinquent characters. So think of like Yusuke from Brothers Conflict. He gets mad, he's a little bit aggressive, he's like a delinquent, but he's got like a soft heart, really. It's kind of cute, actually. Second one is Ron. I have never come across a character so creepy in my life. Like, he appears and he's like, and you're like, oh my god, what is wrong with you? So creepy. So you know how normally I like the dodgy characters? And I'm sure I'll like him too. But of all the dodgy characters I've come across, he is like the creepiest. I was like, I didn't think I'd ever come across a love interest so creepy. He's so creepy. But because of that, I'm looking forward to his route. He is locked, by the way. You have to play Akito or Heishi to unlock him. Last but not least is Heishi. He's the character that I have completed the route of. Oh, bless him. He's a little puppy dog and it's so cute. You just want to protect him. He's so like excitable. He's so happy. He's just really sweet, and my heart, oh my god. I loved him and the and Nanami together so much. It was just so adorable. Everything about it was adorable, and I just wanted to protect him because he was adorable. Um so yeah, that my first impressions and how I felt about him in the end basically are the same. He's just what you see essentially, and I love that about him. So Ron is a locked route, and suggestions say to play him second to last. And I think some say that Akito should have been a locked route because they felt like he revealed a lot of information. Note that all of these characters are actually espers, or I don't know what they're called in English. They have like powers basically. Um, you know a couple of them, but you don't know others, so it's very like it's a kind of a surprise, and I probably won't even include what powers they have in my review because I feel like part of the surprise is like part of the fun is learning what powers each of them have, because some of them like kind of conceal it for various reasons. So yeah, I don't actually know their ages. Some of them are old, some of them are like sort of school age. I don't actually, yeah, it's confusing. Let me blow my nose because it feels uncomfortable. Okay. Akito was my favorite when I played the Beta Edition. Ooh. Scared to play Ron's route. They would give the weird one a non-Japanese name over you. Adabani, you've got a point there. Ron is so funny in the main route. I'm looking for, like, bless him. He's just a bit odd, isn't he? Here she got the same voice as Hesuke. It makes sense. They are both like Genki-ish. Hi, Professor Q. Oh, you've been waiting for this for like 10 years, so I'm guessing ever since it was released on the PS Vita, maybe? 29 years old, it's hard to get into characters who look too young. I just want more mature. Right? Like, I must say, a lot of the characters in this game look quite young, so that's one of the things that made me go, but yeah, it turns out I actually quite enjoy it. Power Rangers. But okay, so this is the recommended order. Basically, I took Otome Kitten's recommended order after having a look, so it seemed most just straightforward. She's got two, it makes sense, and I think everyone goes to her for recommended orders anyway. So the first one was basically least spoiler to most spoiler. And it went Heishi, Senri, Sakuya, Kakeru, Masamune, Itsuki, Akito, Ron, and Natsuhiko. And then the second was like spoilers, like in order of least to most spoiler slash like pacing, which was Kakeru, then Heishi, Senri, Kasakuya, Itsuki, Masamune, Akito, Ron, and then Natsuhiko. So that's kind of it. I mean, I probably am gonna mix this with like my order. So I tend to play characters from least favorite to most favorite. So I'm probably gonna go Heishi, Senri, Kakeru, and then Sakuya, Masamune, Itsuki, Akito, Ron, Natsuhiko. I'm kind of tempted to mix Sakuya with Itsuki, so I play like Sakuya and then Itsuki. I really don't know. To be honest, a lot of the time recommended orders to me don't have that much of a like effect, I guess. Um I don't know, but it seems like people suggest basically Akito, Ron, Natsuhiko. That should be like the last three, it seems. So I guess that's that. I feel like Casey route first would be odd. Doing that route now as my fourth, and the way it jumps around is still confusing, even though I think I have a grasp of it. Oh, okay, so you feel like Heishi's route should be pushed back a little bit. Interesting, interesting. I played him first, and I mean, he's a nice casual route, I would say. Three different hero really helps now that I think about it. It's hard to relate to one girl that everyone loves. It's a bit odd, really. That is true. A lot of the time, you're like, wait, who, like, why do they all like her? I want to play earlier on in the playthrough. I played him later in my first playthrough and I was so annoyed that I didn't play him earlier. Oh, really? I wonder why. I don't want to ask in case it's like spoiler reasons, but I just want older MCs. Hansel's quite old, isn't he? I know everyone like kind of goes crazy over him. I tend to pick whoever makes my heart race most. I mean that makes sense. That makes sense. Ah, I see. Okay, I see. Yeah, that's true. Koharu seems to be like confused why she's there, so everyone like explains things to her. So I guess it helps with you as well. Okay, that's cool. I like seeing what people felt like. So Kakeru first fruit. Okay. So maybe it'd be good to do like Kakeru Senri and then Heishi. Maybe. Okay. So these are like my very first impressions. So I felt like the route did not drag on at all. So a lot of games I felt kind of like, I don't know, a lot of Otome games, I feel like there's a lot of unnecessary stuff that happens where you're like, yeah, I get it. Can we just like move on with the game type of thing? Whereas this didn't have that. I think it has got to a lot to do with the fact that, of course, there are 9 love interests, so they have to kind of keep it concise, make sure that it doesn't drag on, otherwise you've got this ridiculously long game. So I don't know, some people may not like that, but for me it was good. It wasn't as short and sudden and terrible in terms of pacing as Paradigm Paradox. I mean, I enjoy Paradigm Paradox in its own way, but these routes aren't as like sudden and brief and short as Paradigm Paradox. So that may be a relief to some of you if some of you felt a bit like disappointed with Paradigm Paradox. What I really liked is the 3 main characters. Like, that is my favorite part because one, it's fun to see from different perspectives and like seeing that character from like another character's point of view, but also being that character. The difference is quite like, I don't know, there's just something fun about it. I also felt like the friendships between the MCs are like so cute because they sometimes have to share rooms, so like they'll be talking about stuff and they might be talking about their concerns or like worries, which often are like love related, so they clearly have a crush on someone and they're being a nightmare, and they're like talking about it. I don't know, it just warms my heart. It makes me think of like when I was like single and talking about guys I liked and things like that. There's just something so cute about it. I love this so much, and it honestly felt like I went on a school trip or maybe an internship. I don't know, it's a bit weird for school trip because some of the characters are too old to be in school. But that's how it felt. It felt like you were on this journey with a bunch of friends and you'd be like talking to each other, and it's really weird because I didn't realize that this was a slice of life kind of Otome game. Of course, it has its plots as well with the whole who's the traitor element, but it's managed to like kind of sort of slip in this kind of slice of life feel. So there's like funny moments. Like honestly, I thought it was just gonna be like this emotional roller coaster game, if I had to be completely honest. But it was kind of like there are of course emotional moments, but there are lots of funny moments too, and there are things that happen that got a good giggle out of me, and you don't get that very often in Otome games because a lot of Otome games that get quite like gritty and depressing. So this is a nice change for that. And the characters, as a result of playing the common route and like a little bits here and there, the characters I'm looking forward to most is Itsuki and Sakuya. They are like I'm most interested. I'm like, oh my god, what's up with them? And I like the chemistry they have with Mikoto, so I'm very, very curious as to what their route's going to be like. Unfortunately, Senni gets last place in terms of like what I'm like sort of what I'm looking forward to, hence why I'm playing it right now. He just, unfortunately, he looks so young. Bless him. And hikikomori just isn't a trope that I'm into. So although there have been some cute moments, so it's not all doom and gloom. He just unfortunately isn't my type. I'm sure there are people out there who will love him for me. And that's great too. So yeah, that's kind of like how I feel right now. Let's see what people have to say. Does have pacing issues. It really jumps from one event to next with no transitions, right? Rose Lover, like Paradigm Paradox, I enjoy it, but it is very much like popcorn Otome, where you just kind of have to go in without having too high expectations. You just kind of play it because why not, if you know what I mean. It is like a school trip because they are all with certain powers and their aim is to keep peace or something, I don't know, and they're like traveling to a particular destination, so it's interesting. It's nice. Yes, girls staying up late having boy talks, like it honestly, it is really like a school trip. I loved it so much. The similar pacing issues, but it does romance better, so I love it. That's the thing. They do like the romance so much better. Like in Paradigm Paradox, I felt like things are happening so quickly and there was just no time for romance, and it was just really sad. Like, what's going on? And that's the thing. The main character and the love interest, the way they interact is really sweet, and each of them quite unique as well. Can't sit. Sakuya is giving you can't sit with us vibes. Oh dear. Sorry, what's the hikikomori? So hikikomori is, yeah, someone who's quite gloomy and like shuts themselves in their room and doesn't come out. Um like you can imagine them with a, this is how I put it. He's the kind of character that I can imagine him having like one of those voodoo dolls with like someone who's like Kakeru's name on it and like hammering it while chanting something bad happened to him. I know that sounds really bad, but that's just the vibe I got from him. Completely skip this character. I find it uncomfortable when they look that young. I mean, there is an all skip function, so you can always just put the settings onto all skip and then like skip him completely. As far as I know, he's one of the earlier ones, so I don't think he's got like critical info. Although please do correct me, anyone in the chat, if you think he's actually quite important to play for plot reasons. So this is kind of who I would recommend it to based on what I have played so far. I actually would recommend it to like people who aren't like people who like visual novels but don't usually play Otome games. And the reason why I say this is because the focus is so much, or at least it feels like the focus is so much on the main character and they're voice acted and everything. I just kind of felt like even if you're someone who's opposed to being a female main character, you may be able to play it as reading a story more, and not it's very I think you can really distance yourself from like the self insert type element of it. I mean, that's what I do anyway. But if you struggle to not self insert, then this is a really easy one not to self insert, because each of the main characters are so like distinct in their personalities with like voice acting, and it's yeah, I think I would actually recommend it to those who like, because you do get a lot of people who are opposed to Otome games because they're like, well, I'm not into guys, so why would I play it? Like that sort of thing, which obviously I'm a bit like, why would you not play Otome games just because of that? Like, well, obviously I think that because a lot of Otome games, the plot is really good, so you can just ignore all of that. But if you're particularly like that, then I would recommend this, because this one really, like, I don't know, it felt like a visual novel. And if you're an Otome fan, you can play it as an Otome game, but if you're not, then you can play it as like just a visual novel. I don't know. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but that's kind of how I felt. And of course, those are like voiced main characters, me. If you want something funny as well as emotional, because I know I've already said this, but a lot of Otome games are just pure emotional angst out there to make you cry. This one felt like all the funny bits were just so, it was like a fresh breath of air, because like honestly, so many Otome games aren't like, they don't implement comedy either very well, or they just don't do it at all. Honestly, there were many moments in at least the one route I played that made me laugh. I was like, what is going on? I loved it so much. I would also recommend it to those who are like me and don't like long routes. If you're the type that just wants to get straight to the point and like get the core plot points and just enjoy those, as opposed to like, because you know, you do get Otome games where like they build up the relationship from eating breakfast together, where I like, frankly, I actually don't care. I know that sounds really rude, but I don't want to read people having breakfast together or people eating together for like the 100th time, you know. So if you're like that, where you enjoy it being like quickly, like fast paced, and like if that's something you're into, although they are like eating scenes in this as well because it's slice of life, but it's like funny eating together. I don't know if I'm even making sense. But that's my thoughts. And of course, if you enjoy sci-fi as a genre, it's really weird because you'd think going back into the Taisho period would be a big deal. So far, it hasn't. I'm guessing it will be, like, there will be some reason regarding that later down the lines, but so far, I have not encountered it. Heishi's route was very much just, it almost wouldn't have mattered that much whether it be in like Taisho period or whether it be in the modern period, because the focus was so much on the airship, um, which was very sci-fi. I know it's really weird because it's like you go back in time but it's still sci-fi. Like it's hard to explain. I think it's the airship, which by the way gives off I don't know if many of you have watched this, but you know the Ghibli um movies. Well, one's called Lapita, a Castle in the Sky, and the airship really reminded me of the island in this, like the castle island in the sky. I don't know. I really like that actually. So yeah, that's kind of like who I recommend it to. But yeah, it is really weird. I definitely would recommend it to those who normally wouldn't play Otome games, who would normally play visual novels. In fact, this is probably a very good entry point to those who are curious about Otome games. Not me advertising the genre again, but so that's kind of that, and I think that's it. So thank you very much. Let me put back this so that I'm actually like, it looks like I'm actually talking to you rather than like me in a tiny box. Um, to ask any questions if you have any, of course. Just stop the skip read right at the end for some info, but it probably wouldn't make a big difference. Okay, yeah. I don't know about critical info, but since Koharu is also young, it's not that bad that Senni is young as well. That's true. That is true. Koharu is quite young. Oh, I totally get that, Marika, too. Affording the game is like the first step, right? If you've got a backlog, then you may as well finish all your other games before moving on to this one, just as you save money, I guess. Lovely. It helps so much feel their character because I also read as a romance and not self-insert. That's the thing. I'm the same. I tend to play Otome games and read them as if they are a novel or a movie or, that sort of thing. That's fair enough, Adabani. I get it. Like, young can be uncomfortable sometimes. Oh, so Sandy is actually 1 year younger than Kohada. I didn't know that. I mean, Ada can always skip the route and then look up the plot points in like a review somewhere. That's always an option. Thanks. I'm adopting Sandy. Oh, I love that. And you're welcome for the stream. Hopefully it helped. I mean, of course, it's only based on like one route I've played, but I think one route is enough sometimes to kind of get the vibe for the game, if you know what I mean. I actually wanted to play 3 routes, one from each main character, but I just did not have the time, and I kind of wanted to do the stream now before like because it's all exciting right now with the Norn9 release and things like that. So, and of course, people in the chat can like kind of correct me if I've got the wrong feeling of something, or I mean that's why I started doing the streams more. Yes, the music. I forgot to mention this. It's really funny because I completely forgot about the opening theme. And like everyone on my server was like, "Oh man, the opening theme is amazing. The opening theme is so good." And I was like, "Is it?" So I went to like listen to the opening theme just because, and yeah, it's nice music. I'll give it that. That's probably what I'll be doing Gil from Cuban Parasite. Oh gosh, poor Gil. But I always say those who like Gil can love them for me, love him for me because because he isn't a very popular character, unfortunately. But yeah, it just means that those who do like him can like him more for our sake too. Target audience for the game, and I've been looking forward to it for a while, but didn't have a Vita, so I'm putting my birthday gift. That makes sense. That's the thing, and the Vita version apparently the localization was like hilariously bad. I very low key want to get the Vita version just to see how bad the localization was. Okay, so it does get better plot-wise. I've been told by people that this is a game where you want to wipe your memory and then play it again. I don't know if that is the case, but I have been told that. So I've been looking forward to this game for a while now. It's like in the Japanese reviews I've read, it seems very much like you need to play this. Funny deadpan remarks. I need to watch the anime too, Life Rant. Maybe I should watch it after I've played the game. It's the music composed by an Australian guy called Kevin Penkin. I didn't know that. Thanks for the fact, Miller. Oh, poor Gil from Cuban Parasite. I think he's just a bit much sometimes. That's the problem. Oh, bless him. The famous novel Uematsu composed a visual novel sound. That is true. The soundtrack is really like I really like it because it has like it feels like sci-fi-ish, but with like classical elements. They do a good mix. So yeah, there are a lot of good things about this game. I'd say the only negative thing I can think of is maybe that the routes are relatively short, and that could sort of put some people off maybe, but I haven't felt an issue with it. Note though that I am not picky when it comes to pacing because I actually prefer it when they just go straight to the point because the dragged on routes drive me crazy. But yeah, I had high hopes for this game the moment I was told about the you want to play it without remembering any of it thing, and also because it's made the scenario writer is the same as Even if Tempest. Those are the two things that made me go, oh my gosh, I want to play this game. Is there a mini game? I haven't come across this mini game yet. I love it how there's so many things that I don't know. The last time I played was 2010, so it's been a nice experience again with only. Ah, I see. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That is a very long time. I think because from what I remember, it spoils a lot. Natsuhiko, the recommended last, so yes, very spoiled. Gonna play the OST after this stream. Maybe I should have put it on in the background music. But then again, if I do that, I get copyright strikes, so it's risking that a little bit. Long routes, but I haven't minded that at all. I've really enjoyed the length spec so far. That's good. That's good input because yeah, I know some people are really bothered by shorter routes and prefer the longer routes. I think that's the more popular opinion. I'm the one with the unpopular opinion of I don't mind short routes. I like it when they get straight to the point. I think it's because I'm slower at reading in English. So when I've got an English copy of the game, it takes me so long to get through it because so there'll be certain things that in Japanese only takes a few characters, whereas in English it's like manga. With Otome games, I like reading it in English too, depending on what game. Like Bus Fellows and Code Realize, I preferred it in English. But when it comes to manga, I struggle to read it in English because it just takes me so long. And part of the things I like about manga is being able to like really quickly read it. So that's the thing. It's hard to do long routes when you've got so many love interests. Oh, the minigame is in the Norn9 store, right? Okay. That's what I mean by getting bad luck in the minigame. Oh. Oh, I had a bunny. That's the thing. Sometimes it can just take a long time. Oh, so you don't feel like the routes are that short? Interesting. And this is why I like streaming, because it's fun seeing what you guys think. But yeah, I think that kind of covers everything. Obviously do let me know if there are more things you would like to see in future like first impressions videos, because obviously I just kind of go on and on about how I feel and sometimes I skip things, so that always helps. But anyway, I'm going to end this here. Remember that the question of the day is how do you feel about sci-fi as a genre in Otome games? I'll probably write that up and pin it just for those who watch this as a VOD and want to kind of like discuss it. But as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and hopefully I will see you in another one of my streams or videos. Bye!